I worry about my mum. I think she might have depression. She seems to be crying most of the time at the moment. It's difficult to watch. She was always this strong person, always the one who I could go and cry to, but now she's just sad. Terribly, terribly sad. Some of it's my fault. That's obvious. Probably a lot of it. I think I've disappointed her. But what children don't disappoint their parents in some point in their lives? It's a shame, as this disappointment is probably going to stick. Not something that will just pass by. The clock reached 150 today. Slightly odd milestone, especially as it's going backwards. My poor mum. Not sure what she'll do. Dad's gone. She never really had any friends of any kind. Not that I noticed as I was growing up anyway. She just seemed to be there for me. I never had any brothers or sisters or anything like that. I think her being alone is the worst part. She's not good alone. I've left her alone before. I first moved out here to get away. I actually think that's when the depression started, me moving so far away. I didn't see her for the best part of a year. I didn't want to. Kids can be such fucking arseholes to their parents sometimes. My poor old mum. She flew over as soon as she found out. She must have maxed out every credit card she had to pay for the ticket. It's not exactly a cheap destination. I still don't know how she's affording to stay here. I hope she's not bankrupting herself. She never actually asked me to explain, never directly asked why. She knew, of course, about Rachel. It was pretty bloody obvious. I knew she didn't approve. She couldn't. It just went so far against the grain for her. That was what sent me away in the end. Me and Rach. All our money pulled together on 2 plane tickets. It was teenage and reckless, and we were so excited. Our own Wild West adventure. 150 days. It's just less than 5 months. Not an easily divisible fraction of a year. 5/12, I suppose. When it gets to 4 months, at least I can say that's a third of a year gone. So, what to say about Austin? It's not what we expected. You have this image of Texas being a backwoods place. Saloons, sand and Stetsons. But Austin was amazing. Cosmopolitan, cultured, not wild at all, really. Oh, we had fun. Jesus Christ, we had fun. Too young to buy our own drinks, but pretty and British enough to convince almost anyone to buy them for us. We never hid who we were, but no one ever asked. There was one group of guys that we started to see more often. Older than us, but not too old. Just men drinking beer and talking shite. We honestly never tried to lead them on, never did anything apart from smile and show polite interest in their stories. I don't think it's ever about leading them on, not really about sex at all. Our lack of interest was irrelevant. We shouldn't have left that bar. Shouldn't have gone to the car. Knowing what happened, I can't believe I didn't see it coming, but why would I? We'd been stupid and we knew it. There's a weird point when suddenly you realise that the mood has changed, when suddenly you feel the atmosphere. The laughter dies and the smiles lose their warmth, and you know where you're going. We tried to shrug it off, but we knew. When they pulled up, we tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. We'd been so stupid. The language changed. Those charming southern drawls grew sinister, nasty, nasty words that hadn't been used all night started to flow, and it was happening, and we couldn't do a thing. I'd like to say we fought. I'd like to say we got out, but we didn't. We failed. I failed. There was nothing to do but let them and hope they'd be quick. I remember worrying about what would happen next. Staring at the ceiling and wondering what would happen afterwards. None of them lasted long. It was over in less than half an hour. It's amazing how men change once their bowls are empty. They left us. Fled like naughty schoolboys. It was only then that we cried. We lay on the floor and cried. We didn't move until the sun rose and the building filled with light and heat. I wished it had just been me. Apparently, I'm breaking all sorts of records. Young, female, foreign national. Lots of things in my favour, but 150 days still stands. We told no one. Who were we going to tell? The police? Two stupid English girls telling tales about some local boys having a good time. I don't think we could have said it if we wanted to anyway. It was rage that pushed me over the edge. That killed her. She gave all signs of life, but she'd gone. Just disintegrated in front of me. I knew she'd not last long when she didn't. The cable from the Hoover. I didn't even tell the police when they took her away, just said she'd seemed a bit down. They tried sympathy, but I didn't notice. I didn't even really hear them. I've done a bit of research. Texas isn't a forgiving state, especially with my notoriety. Once you've hit 18, you're dealt with like everyone else. It was a simple plan in the end. I like to think it was intelligently conceived, but it was easy. Drinking men drink. A hired car, a hooded jacket, and a hip flask are simple things to acquire. The offer of a lift to some drunk men is even easier. No one was checking taxi numbers. They were so drunk that when they got in the car, the sedative-flavoured bourbon was almost unnecessary. Almost. Dragging them from the car was the hardest thing. I've never been strong, and these guys were big. Adrenaline can make you do incredible things, though. I worried whether I'd have time to arrange everything before they woke, but in the end it was me waiting for them. They were confused. Thought it was some sort of prank, I think. Something one of their buddies had done. But I wasn't their buddy. I remember when I was at school, being told about how soldiers can be conditioned to hate their enemy. Even when that enemy's someone they've never met, to dehumanise the individual so that you can fight them. I never really understood it. How normal people committed atrocities and acted with such barbarism. How could you do that to someone you'd never met? But we had met. We were intimately acquainted. I noted the recognition, shortly followed by the understanding. They knew me and what I was there for. It would be fair to say their reactions were mixed. Some shouted, some tried to negotiate, and some pleaded. It didn't matter in the end. They all ended up screaming. There's not really any guidance on how to approach this sort of thing. I guess a butcher's handbook would have been the most use. The first went quicker than the last, but in the end, the result was the same. Paring knife, vegetable knife, cleaver, scissors. Chop chop. Snip snip. Afterwards I didn't try and leave. I even rang 911. I'd done the thing I needed to do. But poor old Mum. It was a shock for her. I think it made the UK news. 150 days to go. Apparently it's a humane process, which is actually the most obscene part, the clinical gentility of it all. Like you're off to give blood and there'll be tea and a biscuit at the end. I don't know if Mum will come in. I think she's allowed to. I'll understand if she doesn't. No one wants to see the light go out of the pair of eyes they brought into the world, even if those eyes have seen what these have. I worry about my mum.